So Donald Trump, you remember him, right? The former reality TV star who somehow stumbled into the presidency. Well, he's been musing publicly about a third term. Yes, you heard that correctly, a third term, because apparently 8 years just isn't enough time to make America, well, whatever it is he was trying to make it. It's a bold, some might say delusional ambition, like a cat confidently trying to catch that laser pointer dot on the ceiling. It's just not going to happen, legally speaking. But hey, why let a little thing like the US Constitution get in the way of a good headline? Now, some so-called political strategists suggest this third-term chatter is just that, chatter, a calculated move perhaps. Maybe it's to fire up his most ardent supporters, keeping them perpetually on the edge of their seats, wallets open, or it could be a giant smokescreen, a way to distract the media and the public from other, less flattering news. Look, a shiny object, ignore the dumpster fire over there. However, many actual experts are ringing alarm bells. They warn that even casually floating the idea of ignoring constitutional limits is dangerous, seriously dangerous, like juggling chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. It erodes public trust in the Constitution. It weakens the rule of law. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're the bedrock of a functioning democracy. And when you start chipping away at the bedrock, things tend to get unstable. All right, let's shift gears from constitutional shenanigans to the wonderful world of executive orders. President Trump recently signed a new one, grandly titled to promote American energy independence. It sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Like a 4th of July parade float, sponsored by an oil company. The main thrust is to ramp up domestic energy production and tell foreign suppliers, thanks, but no thanks. The administration claims this will cut through burdensome regulations, because as we all know, regulations are just pesky rules invented by bureaucrats to stifle freedom and kill jobs, or protect the environment and public health. This executive order is all about achieving that golden chalice energy independence. To get there, it calls for more exploration for oil and gas on federal lands and waters. Yes, those pristine natural areas. Apparently, they're just chock full of untapped resources waiting to be exploited. The logic seems to be that if America drills and mines everything within its borders, it will become an unassailable energy fortress. It's a bit like thinking you can win a marathon by sprinting the first 100 yards. Ambitious certainly, sustainable, highly debatable. The order doesn't just stop at fossil fuels. Section 4. Under the hood of the energy order policies, plans and problems. So what specific goodies are packed into this energy independence executive order? Well, for starters, it takes a sledgehammer to the existing electric vehicle mandate. That's right, efforts to encourage cleaner cars? Out the window. The stated rationale is consumer choice, because apparently the government shouldn't nudge people towards vehicles that don't spew greenhouse gases. You should be free to choose a V8 monster that guzzles gas like it's going out of style. Which, under policies like this, it might not be for a while. Freedom. The consumer choice crusade doesn't end with cars. The order also aims to safeguard your freedom to choose household appliances. This strongly suggests a rollback of energy efficiency standards, those standards that save you money on your electricity bill and reduce overall energy demand. Apparently, they're an unacceptable infringement on your right to own a refrigerator that could power a small city. Alongside this, the order mandates a sweeping review of all agency regulations that might hinder domestic energy development. Translation: if it protects the environment but slows down drilling, it's probably toast. Section 5. The Grand Vision Energy Goals and their real-world fallout. Beyond the specific policy changes, this energy executive order outlines some truly ambitious broader goals. One major aim is to create much more efficient permitting processes for energy projects. In practice, this usually means faster approvals with less scrutiny. Those lengthy environmental reviews that sometimes delay projects, the administration sees them as unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles. They want to clear the path for quicker development, even if it means cutting a few environmental corners. Or, a lot of them. The mantra is approve, approve, approve. Another key objective is to restore America's dominance in mineral production and processing. The narrative here is that the US has fallen behind and needs to reclaim its rightful place as a global leader in digging stuff out of the ground. This is framed as a national security issue. By producing critical minerals domestically, the argument goes, America can reduce its reliance on potentially unstable or unfriendly foreign suppliers. Section 6. Voting rights on the chopping block. The LDF sounds the alarm. Now let's pivot from the grimy world of resource extraction to the equally fraught terrain of voting rights. The Legal Defense Fund, a highly respected civil rights organization with a long history of fighting for justice, has issued a blistering condemnation of another recent Trump executive order. This one isn't about oil derricks or coal mines. It's about how Americans cast their ballots in federal elections, and according to the LDF, this order is a direct assault on the fundamental right to vote, designed to make it harder for citizens to participate in their own democracy. The LDF argues that this executive order is a thinly veiled attempt to suppress votes. They contend that it seeks to impose a raft of new, restrictive, and crucially unnecessary requirements on voters. These aren't measures to genuinely improve election security, they say. Instead, they are designed to create obstacles, to complicate the voting process, and ultimately to discourage or prevent eligible citizens from casting their ballots. The LDF sees this as a dangerous move that threatens the very integrity of the democratic process, and they're not taking it lying down. Janai Nelson, the president and director counsel of the LDF, has been unequivocal in her criticism. She has publicly labeled the executive order unconstitutional, arguing that it imposes severe and unjustifiable burdens on voters across the nation. This isn't just strong language, it's a serious legal challenge to the legitimacy of the order. Section 7. The LDFs Indictment. How the voting order aims to disenfranchise. So, what specific provisions in this voting executive order have the Legal Defense Fund so alarmed? Let's delve into the nitty-gritty. One major red flag is a requirement for voters to present very specific forms of identification, such as a passport, simply to register to vote. Think about that. A passport. The LDF correctly points out that a substantial number of Americans, particularly those from lower-income backgrounds, minority communities, or elderly populations, do not possess such documents. This isn't about security, it's about erecting an immediate and often insurmountable barrier for many eligible citizens. Another deeply problematic element highlighted by the LDF is the order's attempt to prevent states from counting mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. This would apply even if those ballots were clearly postmarked on or before Election Day, meaning the voter did everything right. Given the well-documented variability in Postal Service delivery times, this provision could lead to the wholesale disenfranchisement of countless voters who rely on mail-in voting. It's like saying your exam doesn't count because the teacher was slow to pick it up from the collection tray. Utterly nonsensical and deeply unfair. LDF President Janai Nelson has forcefully articulated that these new rules impose undue and burdensome requirements on the American electorate. She has particularly emphasized the disproportionate impact these measures would inevitably have on Black voters and other minority communities.